Washington, D.C., murder capital. Chocolate City, Dodge City. If there was ever an untold story in a city founded on nothing but history, it is that of the 1980s. And if that story had a signature, it would be that of Cool Disco Dan. This is his legend.
Disco Dan is a legend in DC streets.
Cool Disco Dan is part of the story as much as the Lincoln Memorial.
He tagged the city. He said, "City, I'm here. My name is Disco Dan. What can you do about it?"
Here's this kid out of nowhere who becomes someone in a way that no one would ever have expected.
It seems that overnight, there were more, and then there were more, and then he was everywhere.
You couldn't go 25, 50 feet without seeing Cool Disco Dan's tag somewhere.
We would be riding through Washington, D.C., and I would tell my husband, "There's Danny."
Disco Dan is invisible. Nobody never know what really Disco Dan looked like.
Damn, who is this Disco Dan dude?
If you knew about it, you were cool, and if you didn't know about it, you weren't cool. And it was one of those things that sort of helped define people.
Disco Dan was like Zorro. He would make his mark, and then he would leave.
And I've seen it hundreds of times, but I never knew the real story.
You should emphasize the cool when you say Cool Disco Dan.
You know, it just rolls off your tongue, Cool Disco Dan.
Didn't say Cool Street Dan or cool anything, but disco just totally threw it all off.
It was the 80s, and disco was bad. Any man who's claiming disco is probably cooler than you.
We writing graffiti because of the fact that I love for go-go.
The sound that I was looking for sound of my own, but it ended up being the sound for the town.
DC, they got this crazy thing called go-go.
It was a alternative to hip-hop.
It's just like a boom, tap, boom.
It's a sound that came out of the poor section of D.C. where we played music on buckets.
Here, street gangs are crews based on the blocks and the neighborhood.
The crew was the people who all went to the go-go together.
He says your name, the whole house heard it because he's talking through the microphone. You're a star.
Case the grind goes, woo, woo.
You're standing on a $4 million corner right here.
You couldn't get money in 1987. Something wasn't right.
And I just want to do crack.
It did set me up, no question about that.
This is crack cocaine.
Crack destroyed all the urban communities. To me, it's worse than AIDS.
It seemed like D.C., when they get a reputation, they go with it all the way. They're going to be murder capital. They're going to be the best at it.
You expected a funeral maybe at least once, twice a week.
So a lot of people were getting killed because they were stepping into the drug zone.
I wasn't expecting to make 18 years old when I was coming up.
For the second straight night, 3 people have been shot in a single incident in the district.
When my tip drop ain't full, kill it. My tip dropped before my loss was my uncle.
I lost a lot, you know. I was in the middle of it.
D.C. became what D.C. is today based on what happened in the 80s.
Cool Disco Dan is every bit as important to that era of local DC culture as anything else.
You know, Disco Dan is present and still breathing, you know, still doing what I'm doing and keep alive. You know, I don't hang out with a lot of people like I did back in them days. I'm solo now.
I just take my hat off, man, to my man Disco Dan for allowing other people to share in his documentary.
People were impressed with the way he wrote himself into the culture of the city.
You can't remove it from DC because it's literally on walls.
There's something really inspiring that someone can pick up a spray can and make a mark on history.
The urban phantom was good for Washington, D.C. He loosened the goddamn city up a little.
I'm Cool Disco Dan, and this is Washington, D.C.